Hello again, and it's time for another project. Nice simple one today, basically just using scrap leftover wood from a previous project. The wood I'm going to use is just cheap fencing wood. You can see from there, that's where the previous project went, and that was on my last video. So basically I've removed that from there, finished that little project off, and I just thought it would be nice to add the Punisher's skull alongside with it as we put it on the front of the gate. As always for me, we've got it template printed out. I had to use tracing paper today because I knew the size I wanted was roughly 5.5 inches by 5.5. It actually works out at 4 inches, so it's 5.5 inches by 4 inches, and I blew up the screen on the tablet so I know that would fit, and literally just trace around it, stuck it down there with painter's tape. We popped our carbon paper underneath, and you just draw around it with a pen, and that will transfer your image like so. So it's only a small little project today, but we're not going to waste any wood. So the idea is we'll route out the eyes and the nose section, and then we'll cut the rest out on a scroll saw. We'll round it off, shape it off nicely. We'll pop some paint in the eyes and nose, put the same colour on, the same dye that we use on the project I've just shown you, and we'll put it alongside that one, and hopefully we've used our wood to the maximum. I will still keep this little strip here. You never know. We don't like to waste things in this little workshop, that's for sure. So we've got our template all sorted. Remember, as always for me, I like to use these CNC bits. They come in different degrees. These are 20s and 30s. You get 15s and 10s. They come with a Dremel size shaft, 3.175, like so, and that's your point on the end. These are fantastic. I must admit, I use these on all my projects, and they're fairly cheap to purchase from eBay or Amazon. Because of the small shaft, you do require an adapter collet, an adapter reducer collet. This is 6.135. So if you're using a 1/4 inch router, you need to slot that little CNC bit into the silver end. Now that will fit your router, no problem. It's now got a 1/4 inch 6.135 shaft on it. If you want to use a Dremel with the router attachment, they will fit your Dremel, no problem whatsoever. So we'll use that first. We'll set it to about 3mm. I have a piece of wood somewhere. There we go. We can't make a video without showing the piece of wood. And I'll just set it to that depth there, which is 3mm, the same thickness as one of those bits. And I find that's deep enough for the majority of my little projects. So we'll literally just go around the eyes and the nose. We'll route out that little bit. You could do it all with that CNC bit today because it's such a small project. But because we have got them out, we'll use end milling bits. Get one nice size. There's nothing too detailed today. And you just pop your CNC bit out. Slide that into that barrier like so. You set it to the same depth, and we just clear out the eyes and the nose. And that's it as far as the routing goes. If you purchase these without the barrier on, do not be concerned. They're exactly the same piece. But some have those little barriers on and some don't. So once we've done those two little bits with the router, shall I say, we'll simply just pop it on a scroll saw and cut it out. We'll talk about that nearer the time. And like I say, we'll get our painting and a bit of dye, and we'll be heading towards the finishing line. Okay, nice and small today. Nothing too fantastic, should I say. Nothing too complicated. The simple ones work just as good as the complicated ones in my mind. They're all little projects at the end of the day. Alright, let's start routing this one out. Right, that's as simple as it was. It's certainly not going to beat any records with the routing side on this little project, that's for sure. So we've done our CNC bits, we've gone around the eyes and the nostrils, and I've removed that one just so we can use that as a depth gauge for our end milling bits, or obviously you could use the piece of wood that we mentioned before. Now it's just a simple case of removing the CNC bit. We slot that in there, pop this into the router, we'll set it to that depth, and basically just remove those 3 little sections here. Right, that's it as far as the routing side of things is done. Nice simple one, quickly, no messing about there. So originally I was going to route out in between the teeth there and paint those black as well, and when we come to cut it out with a scroll saw, we could have just cut around those like that. So that's another option, but it's just cheap rough old fencing wood, so I'm just actually going to cut in those with a scroll saw the way they should be. So have a look at your projects, and sometimes you can alter them to suit yourself. And you also notice I had a knot there, so I push my image to one side just so we don't have a knot in between one of these teeth or on the teeth itself. Like I did say, it's a quick one, is this one. Right, scroll saw time. For my preferences, blade is a spiral blade. The teeth are literally spiraled the full length of the blade, and they will cut in any direction. We could start there, let's just feed that round like so, without moving the wood at all. The other 2 blades are your more basic pinless blade. They have a pin at both sides. Always have your teeth facing towards you, and they want to feel smooth on the way down and rough on the way up. If we can get it sorted, that's better. So you always have the teeth facing towards you, and that will be fine for this project, but you'd have to start cutting there. Then you'd have to turn your wood slightly, feed it round, turn your wood, feed it round, and a lot of turning and twisting. Perfect for this job, that's no problem whatsoever. I just prefer the spiral blade. And if we're doing a detailed piece, obviously not on this little one today, but you want to drill some pilot holes and you want to get in something really tight, they do a pinless blade like so. Really fine work. You just about make out that is a blade. And they come on your more expensive swords with a little clamp at the top and bottom. Same again, teeth towards you, smooth on the way down and rough on the way up. So any 3 of those blades would work today. Just a personal preference. A lot of people don't like the spiral blades. I just don't work well with these. So spiral for me. We'll pop it on, quickly cut this out, and then we'll start putting a bit of shape to it. Right, we've gone all the way around with our Pegas number 5 spiral blade, and that's all cut out nicely. And there we go. There's our little basic shape, and it is little, isn't it? Basically 4 inches by 5.5. We just got away with those inner pieces. You can see how flexible that is. We should have maybe gone for the routing out in between, similar to the eyes and nose. That would have made that more secure, but it doesn't matter to me. It's just fun little projects. So what we're going to do now is just a general tidy up. I use these little engraving bits. You'll get a pack of 30 for next to nothing. And that's just enough to go in there with a nice flat bottom, just to sort that out. Just get in focus. There we go. Clean that out, and then we'll pop on a couple of sanding drums. And if you just round it off and just give it a little bit more shape, and then we'll get on to popping a bit of painting, a bit of wood stain. This little project will be finished once we've sprayed on a bit of varnish. Okay, general tidy up, and then we'll move on to the painting side of things. Right, that's enough sanding down for me. We've rounded those edges off nicely, did a little bit of a shape around the eyes, and we've certainly sorted those bits out. And we've still got our bit there, so far, so good. Okay, next stage is simply just put some black paint into the two eyes and the nostrils there. I'm just going to use simple painter's touch tape, paint for me, should I say. And it's just a simple case of brushing it in. I don't use any wood sealants or anything. I don't seal the side walls with nothing. This fencing wood for me is fine. And by the time we're going to sand over all this again, remember, just so the eyes and the nose pop out a little bit better. So, just a case of throwing that in there like so. Takes a matter of minutes to do. Doesn't matter how rough we're going to be, we can just throw it in. Well, once that's dry, if you feel we need another coat, we can put it on. If not, that will do. And that's it basically. So we'll let that dry, sand it down just so it's got a bit more shape to it, and then we're going to pop on teak wood dye just so it's the same colour as the project we made previously, the members only plaque, if you remember. Okay, I'll finish this off and come back when we're ready to put these varnish spray on. Right, that's it. This little project is finished. Just to recap, we painted our painter's touch black into the eyes. Then I used wood dye, dark teak, for the actual skull itself. And then I finished it all off with a nice yacht varnish. Any varnish will work for me. It'll work to a certain extent, but it won't be the best for outdoor projects. But for my little pieces, I'm not overly concerned. And you can see from that, we've got lovely shine there on that piece. So that's it, we're done. Just a little project. Remember, it only comes in at 4 inches by literally 5.5. So you can put a bit of chain on it and throw it around your neck if you wanted to. But I'm going to pop it on with our other piece, remember. So it's 4 inches by 5.5. We routed out the eyes and the nose with our CNC bits, and we did a little clear out with the end milling bits, and obviously painter's touch, wood dye and varnish to finish with. And that's it, just cheap fencing wood, remember. So what you see is basically what you get. We've got no hanger on this one because the actual gate it's going on, I'm going to put the screws through the back of the gate and into the back of the skull. So there'll be no screws showing at the end. You'll see on our last bit of videoing. And that's it. This little project is finished. Thank you very much for watching.